feel confident enough that I can say in this room that if you really think about it, the answer is going to be, yeah? The employee getting trained, who has to get qualified, is making the decision that, yep, I'm good to go.
After training,
Okay? When he's getting trained, very good. When he's getting trained, yes, sir.
San Leandro was like the journey level, approved competency, those things.
The journey level, right? So
We only have it for that. So if someone's going to move up to the journey level, they're kind of signed off on all the categories
by the journey level. What's your name, sir? Ray from San Leandro. So Ray hit the nail on the head. I want you to think about that. The person saying our workforces are good to go aren't you, management. It's the subject matter experts saying that. They're qualifying and they're telling you that this person is good to go. Now I ask you a second question to think about at your place of employment. What does that subject matter expert base that success upon? What? You said reality, experience, right? It's the way I was trained. That's the way I do it. Now I'm going to ask you, how do you know that's the right way to do it? How do you know when you send that person out to train this new hire that that's the actual legitimate way in accordance with the operation manual or environmental compliance issues you have to do, that that's the way to do it? Is he doing that spot repair correctly? Is he cleaning the SSO sanitary sewer overflow spill? Is he cleaning that correctly? Is he digging that trench correctly? Is he stepping it correctly with a backhoe? How do you know that? Because let's face it, unless I'm mistaken, I don't see one blue or orange shirt in this room. So that means, well, yeah, there is. I know there's one, but I'm not going to point him out, okay? Because he's actually wearing a tie today. It's amazing. His name's Bob, comes from San Jose. Anyway, I just want to point out to you, think about that, though, how powerful that statement is. That they're deciding, yep, that guy's good to go. Because I'll also tell you that probably in the majority of people in this room, this is how it works. You hire the new employee, you bring him into the room, supervisor gets that subject matter expert that we all agreed is saying what good looks like, grabbing them, saying what? Go out and train bag of donuts. Go out and train them on whatever. So what's the subject matter expert going to do? He's going to go what? Is he going to go out and train them? What's he going to base his success upon? His own experience. So he goes out and he trains them, he sends them back in, he comes back after 2 weeks and tells you, boss, man's been trained. Now I'm going to ask you, how do you define trained at your place of employment? What do you mean trained? Because I'll guarantee you, if you ask that question at a table at where you work, everyone's going to have a different interpretation of what that very word means and what they feel when someone's been trained. Because there's still people in this world today that will tell you, subject matter experts will tell you, when you sell that guy to go out and train that person, he's handed that person that SOP and said, here, read it. Because if I give you that SOP, you should be able to do that task. At Union Sanitary District, we don't do that. What we do is we have something called standard answers. And we define wiggle that way. What do we do when we develop a standard answer? We're developed by the subject matter expert. We're using the exact same guy we told to go out and train, only this time he or she is developing that standard answer for us. Then it's reviewed by the subject matter expert and the coach. We don't have supervisors, we have coaches at the district. And then every single one of those answers is approved by the topic area manager. Means our collections manager, our plant manager, and our fabrication, maintenance, and construction manager approves that answer. Guess what? That means he had to read it. And when he reads it, he makes corrections, because trust me, it takes about 4 or 5 iterations. Because he sees things in there and says, oh no, we don't do that. No, I want it done this way. So now, when you end up with that standard answer, you've defined what good looks like. The manager has told you, when you turn that valve, when you change that flow, when you do maintenance on that centrifuge, or you dig that trench with that backhoe, or you TV a line, This is how you do it. And I'm about to show you, break down a standard answer for you. This is the components of a task standard answer at Union Sanitary District, and these are the same questions we ask for every single task, regardless of the job. So for SCADA, anybody not know what SCADA is? Okay, cool. For SCADA, there's a task in that 300 that says initiate equipment status change. So I sit there with the subject matter expert, and we find out what are the steps to the procedure. How do you initiate the equipment status change? So we get books and references, and we go online, and we do best practices. But we write, how do you do that? Then we write, why are you doing those steps? What is the reason why you're doing those steps? Then we write, what control coordination is required? If you initiate equipment status change, you're going to have to coordinate with something, even if it's in a computer or a human being. Then, what means of communication do you use to tell people that you're actually doing this? Then, what safety precautions are observed? And then F, which there's no answer for it, it's just do it. And we write that answer, and that topic area manager has to approve. That is the way, that little item there, Dave Livingston, the plant manager, approved. This is the way you initiate equipment status change on SCADA. And if you do it any other way, you're not doing it what? The right way. The way I say my plant should be run. The next thing we do is a 200 systems. This is part of also SCADA. Programmable logic controller is what PLC is to manipulate equipment remotely or on site. This one's remote PLC network connections. So to understand about initiating equipment status change, the subject matter expert thought that you needed to understand remote PLC network connections. And for that one knowledge, what do I need to know to do the task? They have to understand what model types we have, where are they located, how do they operate, what maintenance is done, what's its capacity, how do you know it's broke? And then what's its normal operating position, on, off, standby, etc. And we write an answer for every single one of those. Now notice I said we have 2,000 competencies now. So I want you to multiply just with those systems in there by 2,000. And that's how many answers we've been writing. Because we've taken the time to dig that answer out. Why? Because I will submit to you and discuss it with you off to the side is this. You owe it to your employees to tell them what good looks like. You can't just send someone out to train someone and expect that subject matter expert, that journeyman, to just know. Because you know what? He's going to do the best job he can. And you know, in our job, sometimes people make mistakes. And particularly in our side, we're the dirty water Navy, right? It can get bad because we're like the dentist. People don't pay attention to us until what? It hurts or it smells, right? And then trust me, they'll be on the phone to us in a heartbeat, okay? The training system, second part, the assessment. So we go out, we develop this JCR, we train them. We have classes for every single one of these training modules, or we're developing classes for every single one of them. Yep. What? Don't I have till 9:40? What? What do I have till 9? Ask Cheryl for that call. Okay, so I get 10, right? Thank you. All right, so assessments. So we do that test. We take them to the class, we train them, and then we take them out, and we assess them on all those minimum knowledge and skills. We assess the competencies in the JCR standard answers. Then we base the assessment on the competencies that they're trained on. So we take that information, we make a course, we train them, and then they have to actually go out and do that task, either after being demonstrated or just, you know, some of them are very simple, so they just go out and replicate the task, etc. The next thing we want to do is we want to carry this out to critical thinking and scenario-driven training, which is if, then, else. So we can use assessments, which is the HR side of reaching out. We want to use assessments to provide input to employee development plans. We can gauge effectiveness of certain systems within the training program, like instruction, instructors, knowledge retention.